This is a tempting dessert, perfect for our spring fever. It's a blueberry streusel with juicy berries and crumbly topping. But there's an ingredient you wouldn't guess. And cookbook author Mickey Sanner is here to share her delicious recipe for a blueberry streusel. It includes that surprising ingredient. What's the ingredient you bake with?
Extra virgin olive oil.
Why do you bake with extra virgin olive oil?
Why does that sound so strange?
Because, you know, to me, it's a savory oil, and you make it in, you drizzle it on pasta. I picture it has a taste that would be a little different with a baked good.
Well, you know, over the last decade, we've learned a lot more about olive oil here in America, and we tend to like a more mild olive oil. And now we're producing that here, right here in America, and so we're able to bake with it. So there are hundreds of varieties and blends of olive oil, but today we're going to bake with a very mild extra virgin olive oil. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go along.
Okay, we have a couple different flavors here. Not flavors. Can you call them flavors of olive oil?
Really call them
like
flavors.
Varieties?
Well,
what do you call them?
If it's infused with lemon, then I guess you could call it a flavor. But there are many different varieties, and I brought these today to show you. I love to bake with these types of olive oil if you're going to the grocery store. Now, there are olive oil specialty stores in major cities, and we do have some here in Salt Lake where they can really give you a great education about olive oil. But I brought these today because this is from the California Olive Ranch, and this is also a California olive oil. And I like to bake with these because they're very, very mild, and you can't really detect it because you want to be able to use something mild in baking just in case maybe more of a powerful grassy or nutty flavor comes through. You want to be very careful about that. So you can use a pure olive oil. It still has the monounsaturated fat that you would find in an extra virgin olive oil, but I would never go below maybe a pure extra virgin olive oil.
Okay, let's start making this up because I want to see what we do here.
All right, let's do it. So we're going to make a blueberry streusel today, and we're going to start with a little bit of sugar. And we have I pre-blended these 1 egg and 2 egg whites. And of course vanilla, a teaspoon, but you can always use a tablespoon when it calls for a teaspoon because you can never have too much vanilla.
Yeah.
And just 1/3 of a cup of milk. And then we're going to go ahead and blend that.
Are most of the ingredients fairly similar? Do you just substitute regular cooking oil for olive oil, or do you have to tweak it in other ways?
I do cookies, cakes, pies, and sweetbreads. So we actually do have a conversion. It'll be on my blog, but we do have a conversion. So you're going to use about 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. We'll just grab this. And so we're going 1/3 of a cup right there. That's perfectly measured. And blend that in. And
so aside from that, there's not too much.
Well, there is. The conversion from butter, from any saturated fat, it's about 1/3 less. So it's not a perfect science, but it's about 1/3 to 3/4 of a cup to 1 cup.
And speaking of less fat, something amazing happened. You did this because your cholesterol was a little high.
My cholesterol was very high, yes, both mine and my husband's. And this was about 13 years ago, and when we didn't know very much about olive oil. Couldn't find any recipes made with olive oil.
And it came down. Give us, how much did it come down?
98 points, almost 100 points, over 7 years. And that was just by changing all my fats to olive oil. I didn't make any other adjustments. But you know, when you go to the doctor and they tell you have to give up dessert, I'm saying,
I'm finding a way to have the dessert.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've gone too far. That's
what do we do next after you've done that?
Okay, so now we've got this all the way blended. And what we're going to do is we're going to mix our 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And we're going to blend those in. And
yeah, we go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I was going to say, you're like ingenious
today. Yeah.
Just like shaking it around there. Okay, I got that blended together.
Now what we want to do, I'm going to grab my spatula here. We're going to put some blueberries in there. So go ahead and dump that.
In where?
1 cup of blueberry right in here.
In with the flour stuff?
Yeah. Okay. And go ahead and just blend that up. Yeah. We're going to coat those a little bit. And after this, we'll make a crumble topping and then a glaze to go on top. So go ahead and toss that in.
That goes in there?
Yeah. Now, when you're asking me about olive oil, we want to know how to find a good olive oil when you go to the grocery store, because some of it isn't always 100% extra virgin olive oil, or it may not be fully olive oil. And that is that you want to look for the harvest date on the back of the olive oil bottle. Expiration date can be on there, and that's great, but the harvest date is the most important thing that you want to see.
Is that sort of what is printed down here? This sort of rubbed off here a little bit.
And there's one here, too, and you can see that. There's a harvest date, and even better, a harvest location. Should be in a dark glass bottle. And the thing you want to remember when it comes to olive oil is heat, air, light, and time. HALT. Those are the enemies of olive oil. Now, we're not talking about when you're baking it. A really good olive oil will actually have what we call a high smoke point. And we're all done mixing that up. You don't want to overmix that. Beautiful blueberries.
Beautiful.
And we're going to spray this pan with olive oil cooking spray. Now, I've tried a lot of different spray bottles, but I just like the typical spray bottle. It works really, really well, so you don't have any chemicals in there. And we're going to go ahead and just spoon that right in.
While you're doing that, I'll let people know that if they want to see Mickey actually up close and personal, you're going to actually be at the Home and Garden Festival this weekend,
I
too,
will
aren't
be
you?
Friday and Saturday, both in the evening.
So that's the way you can see her in action. And if people want some of the recipes, your blog and website has great information. You mentioned even the conversion table that's on there, right?
Right.
What's the name of the website?
Olive Oil Chick. It's my blog. CHIC.
Yeah, like chic/chick. Okay, can we quickly make the streusel toppings?
Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead, and this has cinnamon and 6 tablespoons of powdered sugar and 6 tablespoons of flour.
Do we whisk it?
We're going to get that crumbled up together and crumble it on the top. And when it's all baked, what we're going to end up with is this.
I have to dig into this because this looks.
And I want to know what you really think, because I know you were scared.
It tastes fantastic. I don't taste olive oil flavor in there at all.
That's right, and I have an extra virgin olive oil in there. It's a blend of 3 olives, Korniki, Abrazana, and a little bit of Arbequina.
I taste crumbly sweet streusel topping and fresh plump blueberries. It's the way you're going to switch over. You're going to get healthier because you're going to be baking with olive oil from now. You're going to thank Mickey, and you're going to thank me for the recommendation on the blueberry. We got the recipe for the blueberry streusel on our website as well, so you can find it. I'll be taking it just a little bit longer. Amy?